giving us your time today. And last but not least, here to talk about technopreneurship, harnessing the opportunities for the youth, is none other than the head of operations and IT at Absa Bank. Welcome, Mr. Herbert Olowo. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to ask you a personal question when we get seated and mic'd up. I feel like it's something I should ask. I'll ask it a bit. All right. So this is our panel today. Just to repeat, we have Brian Namanya, the co-founder of Tubayo, and he's going to be speaking about what it means to venture into technopreneurship. And then we have Miss Violet Ampire, the CEO of Wena Hardware. She's going to be speaking about why a career in tech. Just make your notes because we'll need all your questions halfway through this first introductory session. And then we have the CEO of Future Links Technology, Mr. Vincent Twejuke, talking about the opportunities in tech. And last but not least, from Absa Bank, the head of operations and IT, we have Herbert Olowo, who will be speaking about technopreneurship and harnessing the opportunities for the youth. Now, you at home can also be a part of the Career Expo. It's very, very simple. All you need to do is log in. We have the link that's attached to the different NSSF pages. Particularly, you can access it from Twitter. Log in and catch all the action on the different platforms that we are streaming on. Different social media platforms, on YouTube as well, and Zoom as well. For our guests who were able to make it here physically, thank you so much for coming through for day 2 of the NSSF Career Expo. Just to repeat, we will have giveaways, we will have a quiz, and we will take a couple of questions from the audience, online and both on the floor, so that you can also be a part of the conversation that's happening here on the stage. Remember, the NSSF Career Expo is sponsored by, of course, the lead NSSF, A Better Life. We have Motive, Make the Future. We have the Innovation Village, and of course, Absa Bank. All right? Okay. This is a very, very interesting panel. I'd like to say good morning and thank you so much for your time. Vincent, Brian, Herbert, and Violet. Thank you so much for your time and joining me on this stage. I am honored, by the way, I should say, because these are very, very distinguished individuals in their fields. And I come from the media/entertainment field where, you know, we rely on some of these companies to assist us. And, you know, in reverse, we do the same for them. Now, I'll just start with an open conversation, but I want to start with Brian in particular, Tubayo. Let's just make sure all our mics are on and ready. All mics on and ready. All right, good. All right, so let's kickstart. I want to start with Brian. I've heard about Tubayo Travels for quite a while. I've been seeing it on social media. I've been seeing how you've tapped into harnessing the power of social media to then push on the conversation about Tubayo and even push the conversation about travel. Tell us for a bit, why did you choose to start with that? Before we get into your topic today, why did you choose to, well, create Tubayo as one of the co-founders?
Thank you so much, Timothy. Oh, my mic is on. Thank you so much. So I'm Brian Namanya, CEO and founder Tubayo, Africa's first travel online marketplace for users to easily discover great experiences and book unique homes all around the country and in so many other parts of Africa. But to give you background on how I got to this, maybe so many will relate. I'll take you back to school. I did Entebbe Education Center in Entebbe for my primary. Then I went to Ntare School, O-level, for my O-level. Those of you who don't know Ntare School, that's where the president started from. I was in the same house with the president. But after O-level, I then joined Budo. But while at Intare School, I was introduced to computers. There was this whole computer lab. I think it had the most advanced computer lab among all schools in Uganda. And I was introduced to Facebook. I remember joining it in my S1. And during that time, as I would get into the lab, I made friends with the lab attendant because I would want time to always surf. And then one day I tell her, why are we using form? And then she tells me, I actually know how to design a website, I can do that for you. And then I remember going back to the dorm and designing a concept, drawing it on the paper that we would be able to connect with people in Gayaza, wherever. And then I take it back to her and it overwhelmed her. She told me she would do it, but she never did it. And then I just kept at just using the computer lab to do my usual things. Then fast forward, A-levels, I joined Budo. Now Budo, while there, as I talk to like fellow students, I get to learn that their parents own big establishments in the country. You know, they're owning hospitals. It had never hit me that an individual owned such institutions. At first I thought that was mainly owned by like governments and NGOs, but then I get to know that fellow guys that you're chilling with, you know, have such big stuff. Then I start to make friends with them with this idea that I'll get a job, you know, once we're done with school. Clearly they have, you know, the companies. Then I joined MOOC to do development economics. Still, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just going in line, you know, doing the right thing, getting the job after. That was my idea. But while at that, I'm firstborn, I get this idea that I need to start making money. So I start to help out my dad. Then I realized my dad was a business guy, but I think most of you relate. Our parents were tender people. All they did is have connections to procurement officers in so many organizations that they could get opportunities to do whatever was present. So if it was supplying portion, they would do it. If it was printing, they would do it. Then I didn't know where to focus on in my dad's business. I decided I should do the printing side because I had done art in my A-levels. So I get into branding. I start to, you know, make nice brands, selling them to my hobbies, schools, to make them pull up banners, you know, print flyers. And then soon after campus, I keep at that, but then it starts to frustrate. But while doing it earlier, I was able to save some money, get onto a smartphone before any of my, you know, my classmates bought smartphones. And during that time, I discovered Instagram, and then I started taking these nice pictures. Everyone was borrowing my phone. I would tag my pictures to these Nigerian and Kenyan pages to future, and they would never future. And then also I noticed something. I'm like, this is just an Instagram page. I could create mine as well. And that's how I created IG Uganda. I don't know if many of you know it. So that was the first encounter with digital and, you know, social media. So I grow IG Uganda, and the idea was just post Ugandans out there that are on Instagram. So it picks up so fast. I get to 7,000 followers, 8,000 followers. Now I'm doing branding. I use that to market, but I'm paid very little. Then one day I'm visiting my brother at Nana Hostel. I'm supposed to go back home in the evening. He tells me, instead of using a taxi, because it was cheap, use a boda boda. And I'm like, but boda bodas are expensive. He's like, no, there's this new boda boda called Taxify. You get it onto it's an app. You order a boda, it comes through, and it's 1K wherever you go around town. And I was blown away. I'm like, I didn't know about this. So maybe so many people didn't know about, you know, don't know about this still. So quickly I get the idea that following day, go to Taxify, take the 8K followers, tell them you're going to, you know, put the word out there. So I get into their office, no application, no appointment. I just knock and ask for manager, just like anyone would do. So there's a guy, he was the operations lead. He's like, no, talk to me. I'm like, hey, I think what you guys are doing is great because customers are paying very little, and I'm sure so many would want to pay very little. And at the same time, the borders are earning because you're giving them commissions. So he's like, yeah, we get you. So what do you want to do for us? I'm like, I want to tell so many people about your company, and then you pay me some money to do that. He's like, no, actually, so many people know about us, but we don't have border borders. And then I'm like, but border borders are all over town. How come you don't have border borders? So quickly I add up some math. I'm like, if a border stage has about 50, I need 2 border stages a day. That's 100, and in 10 days I have 1,000. So I quickly tell him I can do 1,000 border borders in a month. And then he looks at me, he's like, man, come on. He takes me to the manager's office now, introduced me to the manager. Hey, listen to this guy. He wants to bring 1,000 borders in 1 month. And I'm thinking I was supposed to tell you 10 days, you know. Then, because that's what they wanted to achieve, he then asks me, how will you do it? So I break down that stage idea, and I also tell him border borders have like the best saving culture. If you tap into their circles, they have close to 200, 500 members. That means going to 2 circles, you've got a new 1,000 borders. And so when it made sense to him, he gave me the opportunity. And he told me the catch was, he wasn't going to pay me a salary, but he was going to pay me per border. So go out there, get the borders, and for every border that you sign up, 30K. And I was like, 30K for every border. I just saw money, because when I multiplied times 1,000, that's 30 million. And I'm like, I could make 30 million in 10 days. So quickly the following day, as my dad is going to the office, he drops me at the stage. I just get out of the car, start stopping borders, introduce them to the app, and then that's how we managed to get up to 200 borders in 1 week. I think the first I did even close to 200, but only 200 were approved that week. And I was paid 6 million. I knew this was now the turning point. So I quickly involved my friends and also my family. My brother then joined me, he was at school, but I told him, come and we just signed as many borders.
Yeah.
I built the team around that. And so as I was doing that, I started earning more money than like the managers, and they started to frustrate the process. But at that time, I had started developing the idea of what can I really do, because branding was frustrating. I was being paid 20K. I simply searched on the internet, what are the richest people doing in the world? And they were doing technology and internet. These are the Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gateses and all. So my simple thinking is, you hang around 5 people doing something, you're going to be the 6th person. So if you do what the billionaires are doing, you will be the 6th billionaire. So I quickly decided I'm getting into technology. And when I read about it, I was impressed by the impact technology has. A normal shop can take up to like 20, 30 people, but internet can serve 1 million, 100 million. And for me, that was crazy. So now Taxify is frustrating me. They are opening office at 11, they are closing at 3 p.m. I used my money to open a service center because borders were complaining they can't access office.
Okay.
And when the Taxify office heard about that, they were like, Brian, you're not the head here, and that's against our policy. Please close that office. So I think to myself, if these people are going to be, harsh like this, I could as well just focus on my company. And now that's how I use my savings that I had to focus on Tuvayo, which I had been building slowly.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting story. Yeah, a round of applause, please. Very, very interesting story there. Something that I picked from that is your entrepreneurial spirit. From day one, from when you said that, when you were in high school, you were the first one to get a smartphone. And by being the first, you were then introduced to all these social media platforms. And then you were also introduced to Instagram. And then you now became the person that introduced your friends to Instagram. And then now I see that spirit building into when you got into the border business, and now when you have now finally got it into Tuvayo. But now that leads me to the question, and actually the topic that we're discussing today, what it means to venture into techno-entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship in itself is you pursuing a certain business line or a form of income generation that has a form of return. You invest, return. But then also the aspect of using technology to your benefit in terms of building that business, using technology to your benefit. From that story and from your introduction, what does it actually mean to venture into techno-entrepreneurship?
To give context to that is, and why I'm excited about Careers Day, dealing with the young. So many young people have dreams, very exciting dreams, to drive a very posh car, Lamborghini, to live in Kololo, be able to travel all around. And when you draw back to how you can do that is through earning a lot of money. And entrepreneurship all businesses give this opportunity. And so, even to draw to my own story, when I noticed that I was not going to make so much money in branding, don't quote me, branding, you can actually scale branding and make so much, but I didn't know back then. I decided which business was I going to do that could get me that much money, to avail all those, desires and goals. And I noticed the internet was the opportunity, The other businesses that get such money are like manufacturing. But for a young person, where are you going to get the resources and capital to set up like a manufacturing plant, you know? So I noticed the internet is the opportunity that the youth has to tap into that earning, that kind of earning. And so when I put, you know, all bits together, I decided we're going to use technology and the internet to solve a challenge in the service sector, because I wanted something that we can just use only the brain. We don't need capital to set up, you know, machines and all. And so noticing that we're going to do a service sector, use the internet because there is a bigger market than our local community and our local space. Because traditionally when you set up a shop, you're going to sell to your family and just the community around you. But with the internet, you have a broad market. I can market to Kenya even while I'm here. And so that was the idea, that I was going to use the foundations of internet and technology to tap into that opportunity of making a lot more money as a youth.
One thing I love about that is, well, the beauty of technology allows us to tap into markets that are outside our geographical location. Meaning, right now I'm talking to someone, we are actually talking to people in Arua, in Gulu, probably in Kenya, in the UK, who are streaming live as a result of the use of technology. So that, I think, is a very key point that we can take on. If you have any questions for Brian at any point, just note them down. We're going to get into the question session in a bit. I want to move to Violet here. Miss Violet, the CEO of Wena Hardware. Tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us a bit about your story. How did you get into business, and how did you also get into tech as well?
Thank you. My name is Viola Amumpire. I am a professional marketer and the owner of Wena. I founded Wena in 2018, and it's been almost 5 years of the hustle, I call it, and it's been a rewarding journey. I started when I was already working. So for me, it was that other thing that I could do besides my day-to-day job. And along the way, it actually picked up. I got so many inquiries, so I couldn't serve two masters at the same time. And I had to let go of the, working for other people and concentrate on the business. Whereas I got inquiries, I was not actually getting orders. I think it took me almost a year to get my first paying order. But it was something that I kept hopeful that these many inquiries coming through, one of them is actually going to turn into an order. But the more inquiries I got, the more I learned about the business. Having been a professional marketer, I had not worked in the construction industry before, I had not worked in any hardware. I also didn't know much about what I was actually doing. I used the internet to learn about the products I was selling, to learn about the industry in general. And the more that I got the inquiries, the more I went to the website to, edit the description of the product, to understand what exactly this client is talking about. I also got informed. Wena is an inspiration of stories of Ugandans abroad. That at that time when I started Wena, I'd read about a story of someone who sent money to a family member in Uganda to buy materials and help them construct a house on their behalf. Unfortunately, this person that was receiving the money was not using the money for what it was intended to do. So I thought of an idea where people do not have to go through third parties to get them these construction materials to a site, or even if someone is in Kampala, how do they build back in their hometowns or villages? And that's how I started Wena, so that people do not have to go through third parties to buy construction materials or to access services that are needed while they are constructing homes. And yes, that's how Wena started, and over time I have learned more about business, I have learned more about how to use the internet to build my brand and sell to people that are actually beyond those that I initially started targeting.
As one of the main advantages of using technology and the internet is it being an infinite information source. Set aside communication, set aside distribution, set aside monetization of your different hustles. the beauty about the internet and technology is it is an information source. And from Violet's story, I get that there were aspects of the business that she wanted to learn, and what she did was, like everyone else, open your phone, go to your browser, and type in this, that, and the other, and search. And in doing so, she has a better understanding of what her business is, what her business could be, and how to actually run it, because now she's more informed about the things that she's actually selling and partaking in. Now that leads me to ask you this. When a hardware to the mind might be, you know, your timber, your cement, your bricks, your tiles, physical things.
Yeah.
But today I want to ask you, and this is in line with your topic, why a career in tech? Are there roles, are there positions, are there duties that have been of assistance to you as a result of tech? Are there roles that someone might play, maybe a social media influencer or a videographer who comes and records a video of what Wena has to display, the products that they have on display? Has there been an aspect where your business, being a very tangible, physical, product-based business, been in touch with the world of tech to then work to your advantage? Why should someone pursue a career in tech?
Thank you. First and foremost, you can be anything with tech. That's like what I want to say. Okay, apart from being a doctor.
Well, you can. You
okay,
can.
to some extent maybe, but I think so many other things are very much possible when you're using technology and when you actually get very intentional. I think you can also be a doctor. The internet, or what technology does, is give you the information that you need, but also challenge you to be better. Because you find people that are already doing it, and if you're very intentional with what you're doing, you then get better with the knowledge that you find on the internet. That's what I can say. But specifically talking about Wena, we currently have 35 plus interns that we, thank you, that we just...
You can clap louder so that everyone hears. Yes.
Thank you. That we just took on last week, I think, when they finished their exams. And for me, that's exciting. I remember one of my supervisors is in this building. And when I was an intern, it was very, it was a different experience. You almost don't know what you're expected to do. But I've told them that, one, you're working in a tech-enabled business, highly tech-driven business, so you need to know how to use technology to be better people. And I have actually asked them to choose which departments they want to be in. I've not asked them what they are studying in school, but for them to choose where they want to belong, to choose what information, or just be inquisitive and say, but what does this department actually do? Not that you've gone to school and qualified to be in that department. So for me, that freedom that technology gives you is what I'm also passing on to people that I have had the opportunity to mentor or to bring under, the brand Wena. And yes, so you can be a photographer, take pictures for our different partners. You can enroll the different partners that we work with. You can also attend to queries through customer service, using the different tech-enabled tools. With the 35 interns, we don't have that much space to host them. So we are using technology to be able to work every day from 9 to 5. We are able to work remotely, and we use different tools to monitor what people are doing, to also report on the different tasks that we are doing, but also to serve our different customers remotely and efficiently. I can say you can be anything, and as long as you think you have any value that you want to add to Wena, I just say, okay, just like Brian got the opportunity, I just say bring it on, and let's use technology to enhance what exactly you want to do.
I love it. I love it. A round of applause for Violet, please. I like that you mentioned that you're offering, internship opportunities to 35 interns already at Wena Hardware, and also that you said that your company is two things: tech-enabled, but also tech-driven. Those are two different things, although they might sound the same. Tech-enabled allows you to, well, we're using laptops, we're using our projectors, we're using our equipment around us. But also tech-driven means the end goal, and some of the products that are available are also in that same field. So that allows someone to have a constant interaction. It's like an ecosystem.
Yeah.
I work with to make money from and get money out of technology.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Those are opportunities that are coming to the youth through technology. Speaking of opportunities to the youth, Mr. Herbert Olo, the head of operations and IT from Absa Bank, thank you so much for joining us. And today we'll be talking about that in a bit. But I have my first off-the-cuff question, the one I wanted to ask you. Does everyone at Absa wear red? because you know, I saw the MD yesterday and he had a touch of red on him, so I thought maybe it's like a company thing where, you know, everyone is supposed to wear red. All the NSSF guys are here in blue. So is it like a thing, like you have to wear company colors, or?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
Off the cuff, really good.
Yeah.
Well, one, red is a color I like. But
Okay.
then more importantly, the brand.
Yes.
And Absa is one of those who has got a very rich coverage of colors in the brand. There's red, there's pink, there's purple, there's this. So it's probably just coincidence that I had red today.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was in blue, if you had seen me.
You in blue?
I was in blue yesterday.
Wow. That's outside the Absa range. There's
Well, so-
pink, orange, red, in that area.
Yes.
Yeah, sunset colors.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason I gave that example is to say Absa doesn't tell you to wear red or wear blue. Yes. I think similar to what we are talking about today is to be authentic, be yourself,
Yes.
be what you feel like that day, and come to the party. And at the same time, when you've got it, you stuck with the brand, stick out with the brand as well.
All right. So Herbert, before we get into your topic today, let's get a bit about yourself. You are the head of operations and IT at Absa Bank, and I imagine the pressures on your shoulders must be intense. I know you're running a mobile app as well that allows people to transact, you know, from their phones. I know there's a lot of communications that happen left, right, and center within the bank. How does Herbert, take us through a day in the life of Mr. Herbert Olo at Absa Bank?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. I think one is, before you start your day, you need to actually come in and be ready to face anything, to carry any weight on your shoulder. And the reason for this is we've got a responsibility to serve our customers. Absa, like you may be aware, is focused on Africanacity. So from an operations and a technology perspective, we are the engine of the bank. So we need to make sure all the payments go through. We need to make sure you can get money at the ATM, you can access the app, you can do all of those. A lot of the people here know what technology is and the challenges with technology. You need to keep doing the routine things that are done to make sure the technology serves you. And that is something that we really have to keep doing. So among the things I do is follow up to make sure that everyone is doing what they've got to do to keep the technology healthy. An example I often use is, I'll not use the human being, I'll use the car. Whoever drives the car, maybe the youth don't have a car, or even a bicycle, you need to make sure it keeps ready to run, take it for service routinely and all. As human beings, you're supposed to go do the medical checks very often. Similarly, with systems, and as we talk technology, it's very important that we do the basics, do the house cleaning, do those routines that will make sure the technology can serve you. So that is one of the biggest things that keeps us busy.
Yeah.
And also working on going digital. Like you're all aware, the banks have come from a long time. From the time when you had a teller inside behind there to an ATM machine to the app today, and with what COVID did, we are working on moving digital. It's a digital transformation. So there is that side of work that's happening as well.
I love that. You know, I feel like even the story of money and money transactions have moved in that sense. If anyone knows our history, you know we actually started with cowrie shells.
Cowrie shells.
Cowrie shells, and then it was butter trade. I give you my shells, you give me something. And now we've formed a currency. We have legal tender. Now we have money that you send through your phones, what you normally call mobile money. Now we have cashless transactions. Now we have apps where we can send our money. And now, most recently, we have crypto, where you can't even, it's in the air. You can't even touch the money. But you can say this guy is very rich. And he looks like he's rich, but he just doesn't have money on him. Doesn't even look like he has money. But there's one thing I've always wanted to ask, and this is now from a personal level. You know when you get that message on your phone, right? That message that says, from this weekend, we'll have a system upgrade where mobile banking will be shut down. In moments like those, I imagine that, you know, there's pressure on your head. Maybe there was a system upgrade that needs to be done. Maybe you're enrolling something new within the bank that requires, you know, a temporary, you know, turn off and then turn back on. In those moments, what type of pressure is on your shoulders to make sure that the bank continues to transact? Because if one aspect is off, the whole bank doesn't die. If your arm doesn't work, you still have legs that can help you walk. So in those moments, how does Herbert firefight with technology?
Well, good question as well. So by the time you get that message, lots of planning has been done.
Okay.
And because the planning has been done, it is usually following up on something that has been rehearsed to make sure that the services come up as expected. And these are things like you're all aware that must be done at all times. I'll give an example of, we all have smartphones. From time to time, you'll get an update that needs to happen, and the phone will need to restart.
Exactly.
So every time that restart happens, because of the complexities and the security in the bank, we need to do multiple checks to make sure that everything comes up, to make sure that your money is safe and cannot be taken away, especially these days that we use virtual padlocks, not like the physical ones we used to use.
Yes.
So the pressure is there, but many times we actually ready because it's something we've tried and it's a routine we keep doing from time to time.
All right, thank you so much. I just wanted that clearance because when that message comes, I know for everyone here, we're young people, we love to go out. But if you get that message and they tell you on Saturday between 12 a.m. and this time,
So
you worry too much. I need to run to the bank.
just to be very clear, when that message comes, we make sure there are alternate ways.
Of course, of course.
Usually there will either be, if the app is off, there will be ATMs.
ATMs. If the
You know,
ATMs,
or
there's
there will be
internet
a
banking.
POS device
Yes.
that you can use. So usually we think the customer first.
But we appreciate that because those are all the steps that are taken to protect us from what the negative side of technology could be. You know, maybe someone is using fraud to, you know, illegally take money out of your bank account, and we need these measures that are put in place to protect your money, but also to protect your digital imprint, what you would call your confidentiality online. Now, on to our topic today, technopreneurship, harnessing the opportunities for the youth. How do we go about it? How do we open up doors for a young person who wants to dive into the world of technology and entrepreneurship? And what can you say ABSA is doing in that line to open those doors for the youth?
Well, thank you very much. Very good question. Like you are aware or may have heard, so ABSA is just to get us ready to get into the market. We are providing training in 4 areas to get us ready to serve. So there is entrepreneur training, there is training around money, and we've got a stall up here that will teach you. But you also need to understand or to be a leader. So the leadership skill is very necessary. Brian's story was very inspiring. Brian actually highlighted the key things that you need to have. A very inspiring story of all the things that the youth need to take note of. I actually wrote them down. If you think about what Brian said, he said, what did he do? He was curious. He had a computer, so he got that knowledge. So we've got online training, which helps at least with that. He talked about social media. And social media is where we are streaming from today. As ABSA, we're also available, very present online. And that really helped him. It becomes a mechanism to connect. That takes me to the next thing, the connections. So even when you go online, you've got to register, you've got to sign up on that app. It gives an opportunity to get into an environment and even connect with whoever else will be in there. So that is facilitated as well. But you see, doing that alone is not enough. Whereas ABSA will do that for us, there were things that he talked of having as well. He was curious. Remember, he kept asking questions. And Brian, that was a very inspiring story. He was very curious, he was very focused, and then innovation, being very innovative. But looking at all of those, with the platform that we have, as ABSA, remember I said at the beginning, Africanacity, we are interested in enabling it for Africa. And so we have got that platform out there. There will be other things that come out as well. But I also strongly believe, based on my experience over the years, the youth have got a big opportunity today to be technopreneurs.
I love that. Round of applause for Herbert, please. On to our fourth speaker on the stage. He hails from Future Link Technologies and he's at the helm. He's the CEO of Future Link Technologies, Mr. Vincent Tumijuchi. I hope I got that right.
You did.
I did.
You did.
All right, thank you. How are you doing today, sir?
Sorry?
How are you? How are you doing today?
Very well, very well. So my name is Vincent Tumijuchi, and it's really very inspiring to be part of this session, because when we started out our journey about 16 years ago, we didn't have such opportunities. It was to figure out yourself. And it took us really some very good time to really figure out how business ought to work. And I think that, you know, the people who are, you know, watching and who are here are really greatly privileged, because the difference between knowledge and no-knowledge can be $1 million. Coming from the background of computer science, I'm a software developer, and looking at how things have been, you know, moving, I just wanted to cast some slide. These two people there, Timothy, if you allow me. There are these two wonderful people there.
I only know one of them.
you know, exactly.
I only know one of them.
You know only one. But there is one who is little known, yet, in my view, should be one of the most celebrated people in the world. So the first person is Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla is the inventor of alternating currency. So you see the power that we have, the currency that we have, the generated power from ginger, all that is alternating currency. Before that, we had only direct currency, which could only be generated from batteries. And because of the limitations of that direct currency, it could not go for a long distance. So you had to have generators in different places, you know, everywhere you had to have power, you had to have a generator and batteries. This guy, Nikola Tesla, invented the alternating currency that now you can transport to another country. And you can store it. Unlike the direct currency, alternating currency can be stored. But he lacked one thing. He focused at just the technology. And by the time he died, his loyalties had been bought off, and he died a very miserable person, very, very poor. Then you look at this guy, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was not a programmer, but he had the art of communicating a vision. So much so that he could compel you to work for nothing, for him, because of the vision that he had. So I am here and you know, from a background of technology, I think that opportunities will only be available to those who are able to actually interpret technology in the context of the people and their needs. And this is something that I'm really very passionate to talk about today. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Vincent. That's a very interesting intro right there. It brings me to something I saw in a movie. I don't know if there's any fans of Iron Man here. Anyone seen the Iron Man movies? Yes, we have a Marvel fan on stage. I'm not the only one. But I'm pretty sure there's a couple of you in the audience, and also those at home who are fans of Marvel movies and, you know, some of the things that are included in those movies. There's a line in that movie where they're referencing Tony Stark's father, Howard Stark. And you know, there's a whole family of creators and scientists and inventors. And the line in the movie says, Howard Stark was limited by the technology of his time, wherein he gave the foundation of the actual plans that then his son, Tony, was able to build on. So he created the foundation that gave Iron Man, you know, the ability to become Iron Man, but then also for him to give forward to his child. And that brings me to Vincent's presentation, his intro actually today, in comparison to Tesla and Jobs, wherein today we're only limited by the technology of our time today. But in a weird way, we are also responsible for being forward thinkers. We're responsible for looking towards the future because the future depends on what we do now. Yesterday I mentioned that, you know, your today actually was yesterday's future. Your today was yesterday's future. All right? And your today is going to be your tomorrow's past. If you think about it, that's the way time works. We in this place and we having this conversation today have that obligation to be future and forward thinkers, to be futuristic, which is in line with our theme this year, to be the person that says, I want to take a step forward. From what I have found, when I leave, it needs to be in a step further than where we left it or where we found it. Speaking of the future, it's in the company name, Future Link Technologies. I want to ask you about those three separately. Separately. Let's start with future. As a company, how are you building the way forward? How are you paving the way for us to say, you know, we made that next step? How is Future Link Technologies paving the way for the future?
Wow, that's really a great question. And it takes us back to these moments when we were brainstorming in 2005. And we perceived that in many ways Africa was lagging behind. And we wanted to present a future, participate in the shaping of the future. But how do you actually shape the future? And this is exactly what I have had to really now appreciate. Technology. The subject of technology is about changing the world. It's not just about making money, but really redefining what future our children ought to find. So technology is about redefining the future. And so we felt that in many ways, and particularly Africa, there was the problem of poverty. You want to have access to credit. Herbert is here, but he knows that if you have no account and you have no records for the last 6 months, you will not get credit. And many people then run to money lenders and they borrow at 20% per month. There is no business except lending. If you borrow at 20% per month, the only other business that you could do is if you lend at 30% per month. But I have not figured out, there are very few businesses that you really make a good return. So, and this is really related to my personal experience. In being able to actually shape the future, very often the motivation comes from personal experience. I remember I sat down some years back when I was going back to school the next day. My father, who was now a retired teacher, called me and my younger brother, and he was, you know, preparing us to go back to school. And he had slaughtered one animal, one cow, made all the cells, He called my mother to bring all the family savings. And when they had emptied themselves, the money still was not enough. And for 5 minutes, we sat there, no one saying a word. And it was that moment that I sensed a heavy duty of responsibility to change the status quo. That time, the nearest bank branch was about 30 miles away. And so we said that if there was going to be anything that I have to do, it must be about building the financial resilience of Africa's low and middle income earners. And this is extended now to the vision that the company actually is championing. So the future and the link, not links. Some people say future links. No, we are not, we are one link to the future. Yeah.
One link to the future. Okay. Question number 2, the link. In the name suggests that, well, 2 people are going to connect. And I think there's multiple ways that technology has helped us do that. I think as a result of the pandemic, a byproduct of the pandemic, we were forced to engage in digital communication with a lot of our friends and workmates. I know in very many businesses, in banks, in tech, in hardware, in any business per se, you know, the nature became remote conversations or remote working from home, or working in shifts where you have one shift in the office and the other working from home and they're working together. In terms of the word link, where do we now connect the two? From the person who has a message to convey to the person to whom the message is supposed to be conveyed to, and how do they find the link to work together?
You know, I'm inspired by, you know, these questions that you are asking. I think that it's important that if we are going to be entrepreneurs, but also, you know, employable, because again, this conversation is not so that all of us go out there to start businesses. There are people, you are able to identify a company with a purpose that is aligned with your own purpose. And if you get in there, you will climb the ladders and you can become an owner. So this conversation is really not just about starting only companies. But coming back to the question of link, you can only become a link for an area that you have grown expertise and you have become an authority about. But you see, you cannot become an authority in every aspect.
True.
Because the world is so interconnected that you need to figure out what role you are playing in our today's generation. And this brings me back to purpose. You know, in 2005, as the year was ending, as many people were going, you know, to the nightclubs and everything, I had grown. It was 1 year after I had completed my university, and there was this agitation. What is my life about? Is it just about writing code? And so I decided to just get in my sleeping bag, went to my sitting room, and just there, alone. And I was asking, what is my life about? And it occurred to me that night, alone, that my life was going to be about 3 things. 1, my career, which career had to be expressed through an enterprise, bringing out the vision that I had to solve the problem that I had about resilience, financial resilience, helping, you know, households in Africa being able to meet their day-to-day demands, financial demands.
Okay.
Then the other was about family, that I would get a family. And lastly, that I would occasionally minister and inspire other generations. So in terms of the link now, in my career, I noticed that my life was not just about writing software, but rather enabling technology to accelerate the purpose which I had figured out.
Yes.
And that is really the defining moment. When you find that area where you alone can be best at, then you can use technology to accelerate that impact.
Yes.
And this is the link, yes.
And you discovered all this on New Year's Eve of 2005.
Yes. As other people were dancing themselves away, I was alone, and the next morning, I tendered in my resignation where I was to start FutureLink Technologies in a garage with just 1 million shillings, which I had, saved. And it has been quite a journey.
Quite a journey. A round of applause for Vincent.
Yeah, it has been a journey.
I was going to share how I spent my New Year's Eve of 2005, but it was not involved in tech. I'll tell you that. Maybe a different expo. But I'd like to thank our speakers first and foremost for that introduction and getting us into our different topics today. And I want to run through some of the online responses that have come through before we get to our questions on the floor today. Like I said, please make sure you note down which particular speaker you have a question for in line with their topic today. And then once we finish the first Q&A session, we'll go back for another roundtable conversation on the different topics we have aligned today. Plus, we'll be doing a giveaway after the very first open floor Q&A. So whoever participates, just be ready. Someone is nearby to hand you a couple of goodies. But I want to start with what's happening online. I have 2 responses that came in. One came from Florence Mugaju. And I think this is a general question to all 4 members of the panel. How do you fight fear to new beginnings, and what doable actions to carry out when there are new opportunities placed in your way? How do you fight that fear to begin? And I know each and every one of you has an interesting story about a new beginning in your path towards entrepreneurship. So we're going to answer that as a collective. But then I have a particular question for Brian. This comes from Mubaraka Chikonyogo, and he says, I'm a BIT finalist at Islamic University in Uganda. He says, how were you able to build the team that helped Tubayo reach the level at which it is today? So collectively, let's first address the first one. How do you fight that fear of new beginnings? And then after that, Brian, you can also address that question about how to build a team that can help one reach certain levels of success in entrepreneurship today. We'll start with the lady right next to me, Violet.
Thank you. So I'd like to let Florence know that each day is a new day. So I feel like she's making that new thing so huge and taking away the fact that the new day we face, we don't have an experience in that same day. So getting to understand what it is that you're expected to do or deliver on, for me, is my personal way of dealing with what I have to do. So one is information. Do I know what I'm expected to do? If I know what I'm expected to do, it helps me deal with so much that, that I haven't really anticipated, because I know largely what I have to work on and what I have to deliver on. So it minimizes the fear, but I don't think fear should be the reason not to do something. As long as you know what you're supposed to do or what you're expected to do, go ahead and do it. And if you don't know where to get the knowledge from, use the internet.
Use the internet. That is what we call in tech our cheat code. Use the internet. Herbert, new beginnings are in your way. There's a fear that's approaching. How do you fight that fear?
Yeah, I think very good question and true. Fear, someone one time said, man's biggest fear is fear. I think being aware of what we have, and I would actually encourage everyone to just take a step back and reflect. Look at a baby as an example. The babies, if you look at I actually recorded a video last week of a baby who was crawling, and someone was the baby wanted to hold something, and the baby kept crawling and he kept moving, and the kid just went. And that had a message in it. When we are born, we actually potentially don't have fear. Fear comes as a result of the experiences we have had. But if we flipped it and used the experiences we have had to acknowledge that every time you have feared something, when you go past it, you actually ask yourself, what was the big deal? What was I afraid of? So the best way to face it, in my opinion, that works for me, is to be aware that, number one, it's not the end of the world. What is the worst that can happen? And every day we overcome fears. Part of our life is the things we face that we may be afraid of. So just face it, and you will be able to overcome it. Just knowing that every day there will be a new one, and the previous one will be in the past, and you'll keep wondering, why was I afraid? Yet it was so easy. My 2 cents. Thank you.
All right. Vincent, you shared the story of New Year's Eve of 2005, and you said you pulled your sleeping bag to the center of the house, and as you were there, you were pondering what to do with your life. There was a new year about to begin. There were probably new challenges that are about to pop up in your life, but then something clicked that night that gave you, you know, the stepping stones or the seed that then gave you future-linked technologies and what you are today, and also still in line with your mission and your purpose. So how did you fight that fear? Let's, if we can, take us back to that night. How did you fight that fear of a new beginning, not just a new year, but a new beginning, a new life, a new career path, a new purpose? How did you fight that fear of a new beginning?
Thank you very much. So in my view, I think that there has been a lot about think big. You know, you have perhaps, you know, even within the audience, you have people who have attended sessions like Think Big and all that. But very little is about thinking long term. When you think long term, the immediate challenges are overlooked, and you are able to think more objectively. 2005, when I sat down there alone, I looked at myself turning 60. When you turn 60, the anxiety is about driving a new car. The anxiety is about buying the next shoe, you know, and appearing, you know, attractive and all that. Is not for that time. At 60, you're talking about and thinking about legacy. You're thinking about things that you have done and people are talking about. You are thinking about lives impacted. And when you look at that light, that time when you are about actually to pass on, only the most important things count. And you are then able to come back and make decisions. Because very many times, the reason why we are held back by fear is because of the consideration of tomorrow. Is because of the consideration of the next month. Where am I going to get rent? In my life, I have been chased away from my house, given 7 days to look for another house. In my journey, I almost drowned, you know, in the waters of Bais, trying to get the shortcut, and I didn't know that there was a manhole and water had covered twice. But if you think long term, you are able to adequately prepare emotionally for the long term. Because many times we think big, but we pay little attention about the journey. But if you pay attention to the journey, you are able to overcome the fears, if you are able to link the journey with the end purpose.
I like that. For you to overcome your fears, if you link your journey with your end path, you're able to make it happen. Thank you so much, Vincent. Brian, you can share on that as well. I know even for you, a couple of worries were thrown across your path on your journey to build Tubayo. You can help us answer that and also answer, you know, the question about how to build a team that can reach successful levels as it is today with Tubayo.
Thank you. Florence's question regarding fear, I think it's the fear of failure. And to me, that's so normal. And I would say this, I fear quite strongly almost on a daily, based on the new beginnings, new goals we're having. But how we go around that, like from my experience, is simply setting a goal. When you have a fear for failure, that means there's so much abstract out there. So you don't know if this business will, you don't know about the market, you don't know so much. But if you set simple, clear goals, of maybe goal is get the team to develop the product, then you will have eliminated so much risk regarding failure to deliver a product. So setting goals helps with eliminating that failure and hence being successful. But another way around that, once you've set the goal, I would recommend 3 ways how I go about making sure I have to achieve it. Is 1, pray a lot. Pray to God a lot. God will somehow bring people. He will give you the wisdom you need to execute on your idea to succeed. And then the second is get mentors. Get people who have done it before. They've been through this journey. They've experienced so much what you're going through, and they've found so many solutions. So they will help share some of the experiences. And then the third is learn a lot. Read on the internet, watch videos. I think with those 3, you're able to attack every goal. But the fear will always come around. Even when you do the product, you will have fear of what if it crashes because I don't have money to sustain the servers. Even that, set a goal to get the money to sustain the servers. You don't know how to get the money? Talk to someone, a founder. CK has run the Innovation Village for 5 years. Talk to him. How has he been able to get the money? Then you will be able to get that goal and you will have overcome fear. And maybe one thing for you to note is there's no such thing as failure. You'll find it's just an experience that you go through, but like nothing will happen to you. You'll still be alive, you'll still walk. If it's debt, you will make a payment plan, so you shouldn't really be scared to attempt or work on your goals that excite you.
All right. And then the question about building a team that reaches successful levels.
Yeah, so about the team, I am a strong, I really tell so many entrepreneurs and my friends that we have to work as teams, One, because these visions we get to outgrow us, they get to be bigger than ourselves. It's now beyond me. Personally, Tubayo is now beyond me. Even when I chose to stop today, there is thousands of hosts that are earning money every week from our platform. These people are paying rent, they're taking their kids to school. Even when I don't want those calls that, hey, platform Gizeko, put it back, we can't stop now, but it's the team that's going to do that. And one advantage I like about the team is it will make the group look so good, because we all have our personal battles. Today I'll be so excited to work, be pumped to work, and tomorrow I won't be. But with the team, you won't feel that. You will feel like, oh, Tubayo is going on a daily. But yet, 3 days, I have just been covering myself, because I'm dealing with some stuff. And then you find that the manager, marketing manager is actively, working. And so the team helps create a uniform, look good for the company, to keep moving forward. But the other thing why I think you have to have a team, when you look back history, some of the great works that have been achieved today, like Christianity, Jesus did this with the disciples. And the other is also Jacob, who was blessed because he had 12 children, and he became the nation of Israel. So these are examples of what numbers can do. And if you go back to our tradition, they used to say, Owabanji tafira, yeah? So those are small things to give you the confidence that you need people to work with. Give this opportunity and, yeah.
Thank you so much. So much wisdom on this stage. Just now I know there's a movie lover here, there's a pastor there, there's a philanthropist there, there's an activist here, and then there's me. Yeah, the crown boy. Yeah. But something that I've picked from all your messages is one thing: we shouldn't fear failure. I think that's a unifying message across the board. We shouldn't fear failure in the sense that, challenges are meant to come to you. They're meant to come and place themselves in front of you for you to go ahead of them, for you to find ways around them. That's where the innovation lies. Innovation doesn't lie in you thinking you had a creative idea that was sparked. Innovation lies in when you were faced with a challenge. What did you do to address the challenge? Did you go around it? Did you go over it? Did you go under it? Did you go through it? Or did you stay in one place? Now, a lot of people would consider a failure as I wasn't able to do anything. I stayed in one place and the challenge stayed there, and because of the challenge, I wasn't able to address it. So I stayed in one place. But so many people would also view success and innovation as he saw this, so he went another way and stayed on his path. He saw it, and then he went over it. He saw it, went under it. She saw it, she went through it. And I think that's something to pick from the lesson today, even in line with what we're trying to build. If we're talking about the future of work and how to innovate our workspaces and how to work better, it's not a case of finding a challenge that we can't actually address. It's a case of how do we now find creative, brilliant, innovative ways of going around those challenges. Something that I've seen in each and every story from the speakers today. My opinion, just to answer Florence's question and also maybe now get to the floor as well. We have some questions I'm very sure that you would love to ask. I just want to ask everyone in just here, even you at home, if you can do this. When you talk about an L, right? When someone talks about an L, how do they signify an L? It's like this. Just do this with your right hand, like this. Because the person looking at you sees the letter L, all right? Like this. Just raise it up with your right hand. Right hand, sir. Right. You're raising your left just like, yeah. All right, so right hand like this. But then, if you were to do the same thing like he was doing with your second hand, what would that look like? Like this. Both hands now. Both hands. Like this. Right? Both hands. Even us on stage, we can do it. We can do it just so that we get the picture of what we're going for. So both hands. This is an L on one side. This is an L that's inverted. Right? As if it's a mirror. As if it's a mirror. But what happens if you join your thumbs? You get a W, which is a win. You see that? My opinion is a loss for many people is just a win inverted. A loss for many people is just a win inverted. So that when you combine it, you think of it as a loss. That's just a win looking at you on the other side of a mirror. It's just waiting for you to get to the other side. When you join what would look like an L to someone with what is potentially your inverted loss, you get a W. That's a win. All right? So, Florence and Mubaraka, we'd like to request you to just slide into the NSSF Uganda Twitter DM. We'd love to reward you with some airtime and data for your participation and asking such insightful questions, you know, for us to get these conversations rolling. I'd like to request that we have a microphone on the floor right now so we can get a couple of questions. Zach is here, thank you so much. So we can get a couple of questions on the floor. Remember to introduce yourself, what place you're from, institution, and which question you have, either for the entire panel or for a particular speaker on the floor. Again, Vincent, Brian, Herbert, Violet, Timothy. All right, let's go.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Cyrus Sumika. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a software developer. I'm from MOBS. My question goes to Herbert and Vincent. These are people in financial services. I kindly request you to comment on this. As the youth keep failing to find what to do and to find employment, they are venturing into learning a number of things on the internet, and one of them is cyber security. They're learning things of hacking, and on the topic we are on, why a career in tech. Someone is pursuing a career in hacking in cyber security. And these people here, as they're looking for money and they're failing to get employment, they look for where the money is, and the money is with you guys, ABSA, the person head of IT operations, and Mr. Abbott, CEO of FeatureLink. So as these guys fail to get the money, they resort to things of hacking. One, they are intending to either get the money or to prove to you that they can pass your security mechanisms. So either they're hoping to get the job or to get the money. So do you hunt them down and take them to the courts of law, or you appreciate their skills and give them jobs? Then I would also want to, suppose tomorrow, like Mr. Herbert, suppose tomorrow I hack ABSA, and definitely maybe I expose something. Does it mean that, because it may be my career, does it mean that ABSA will take me to courts of law, or ABSA will appreciate that there is a skill I have that there are people there they don't have, that they have failed to protect the firewalls and someone has passed it? So kindly comment on to this, because there are people in cybersecurity out there that would love to hear this, and even us as young people, I'll be honest with you, as we look for money and we fail to get it, we find where the money is, and the money is with you guys. So if we fail to get the money, we use the Luganda saying, "Okulemerera lwakiro yonoona." So we come down and hunt the money where the money is. So please kindly comment onto this. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I think what we're going to do, we're going to address question by question. So then that way we get as many answers, as many questions as possible from the floor. We'll take 3 now before we get into the interactive quiz, because I know there's a lot of people present who would love to be a part of the quiz. A lot of people at home are also expecting and waiting for that moment to be a part of the quiz. So we're going to answer his question. You mentioned a lot of hacking. I hope that's not your career path. But in the beauty of there being hackers present in technology, there are also people particularly trained to amplify and to strengthen the securities of the systems in place. As you said, Herbert and Vincent, kindly comment on that. He says he's wondering whether you'll take him to courts of law, or on what also, what, things does ABSA do, as particularly the IT department? What things do you do to protect against certain information being released, malicious attacks online, that type of thing? And same with you, Vincent. What protective layers have you laid out to protect your business and your customers' information and confidentiality? Let's start with Herbert.
Yes, Silas, thank you very much for your question. Very, very interesting thinking and thoughts. So what I can say is I am very confident about the security at ABSA. It will take you a very long time before you get through. That I am absolutely sure. I've been at this game for a while, and the team is global, actually. You remember ABSA is a global bank. But I'll just say something about cybersecurity. So when you're doing cybersecurity and hacking, there is what is called ethical hacking and non-ethical hacking. One is a white hat and the other is black hat. I'm sure you're aware about that. So part of the tests that we do is actually those penetration tests to be able to test the ability. And it's something we do internally, even with international organizations. I will encourage you, you've got the skills. Let's use the correct method. So one of the things I encourage everyone to do is to do the right thing. Remember, the law, I may not necessarily do it, but the law will catch up with you for doing what is not right. Somewhere I made a comment about the virtual padlocks that we have today. If you think about what would happen if you walked to anywhere there's a padlock and you broke the padlock, you know what would happen to you. Similarly, you break a virtual padlock, probably you'll not get caught, but you could be caught on CCTV, who knows, but that will also prove how good you are. But it's good to learn the skills, but let's use them in the right place, at the right time, and there's still a lot to learn out there. I think that will be the response I can give you for now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I like the creativity around the question. Like Herbert, however, said, I think that in every aspect of skill, and this is really something that I have also just come to discover, technology is not an end in itself. It can accelerate whatever purpose you have. So if your purpose is basically to to cause havoc, it helps you on that path. If your purpose, however, is to impact lives, like you are 60 and you feel, yes, you have made a difference. You have made a difference. People know, can testify. Then technology will actually accelerate your path in impacting as many people as possible. Now, if you find that you have that passion to actually challenge the status quo, it would be nice to really grow the ethical hacking career. It's available, as Herbert has said. And at FutureLink Technologies, we happen to be, the link to the otherwise would be abandoned. We have created a marketplace for affordable financial services. So we work with circles and MFIs, so they do not have to maintain their own financial infrastructure. So we are the back end, and then we also go to the end consumers to connect them to these services. So we have really a great responsibility, and we have adequately prepared for that, internally, but also in terms of developing the right policies, segregation of roles, and also rallying the people that are partnering with you along the same purpose, so that the very same people, because sometimes it is really the people who have worked with you before who are disgruntled, and that is really usually a sign that they did not buy into your vision. But at FutureLink, we are sort of like some guys on a mission, like an army. We know everyone, right from the least person that you would consider in the company to the topmost person. We know what mission we are at, and it is inspiring itself. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So many insightful, responses here, and I just want to thank Herbert. It sounded like a humble brag, but it was, very honest. ABSA is a global brand, so by the time you say what you said you could hypothetically do, you'd have to be something short of a miracle to do it. But then also, thank you to Vincent to share how it's also important for us to respect both sides of what you were actually talking about, ethical hacking and the obviously unethical hacking, because obviously ethical will provide, the footprints and the guidelines for what we call cybersecurity. So it's in those ways that we find out the loopholes that we're able to now fill in with solutions as we go. But of course, I think because all of us here are entrepreneurs in different ways, we are creatives in different ways, and we are all here because we love technology and what technology can do for us. I think it's on us to create a positive outlook and to always push the positive aspects of what technology can do for us, as opposed to how other people can benefit from it. It's very, very, very wise to consider the negative and to consider the outside of what we're talking about, how technology can be used against us. But I think through that conversation, we can now have these conversations about how technology can be used to protect us. All right? So what we're going to do now is a short interlude, a short break. I just want to thank our speakers on stage for giving us a very good introduction and our few questions that we've gotten online and on the floor. DJ Alicia is going to give us some music for us to vibe out to. If you have to do a water break, you need to stretch your legs a little bit, DJ Alicia is here to help you do just that. In 5 minutes, we'll be back and we'll be introducing the interactive quiz. I hope you have your phones ready, they're charged, you have your internet, you're ready to participate in this quiz because, like I said, big prizes are available for you to win today at the NSSF Career Expo. We have a laptop that we're giving away today. We have a Bluetooth speaker that we're giving away today. Loads of airtime, loads of data, and I have a couple of freebies on me behind here. So to the people that came through for the physical audience, you guys will walk away with something today. And also to our audience tuned in online and from our live streams, we'll be able to send you something as well. For now, DJ Alicia, let's go into a musical interlude that only you know how to do best. Our panel will be on the stage. Grab a drink of water, and we'll be back in a bit for the interactive quiz. This is the Career Expo 2022.
The girl in the party. Alicia.
See that, baby, that. You go chop banana. Sexiness. See that sexy girl from Ghana. She too fine, one of a kind. I call her sexy nana. Yeah, she kill him inside. I can't deny her. Yeah. Cupid drop the instrumental straight from Ghana. Yeah. Say I be killing every show. I be rocking every party. All the sexy ladies pull up and do the dirty wine for me. Say I be killing every show. Every day I'm getting money, and I wanna.
Place for you to tap in and harness those different ideas of yours. And last but not least, the venue, the home that we're in, the creative hub that is hosting us today, Motive. Thank you so much. Motive just fits within the theme of today, which is making the future. We're here to make the future, all right? So, we're getting into the quiz section of the expo today, and there are some big prizes that we want to give away. I would love to invite the speakers back on the stage. I'd like to invite all our speakers back on the Vincent, Brian, and Herbert. I'd like to invite them back on the stage so that we can get into the quiz. Everyone who wants to participate, I hope if you have a friend who has run to the bathroom, please call them and tell them that they need to come back. Everyone at home on our live stream, please get your phones out, get ready. We're going to do this quiz, and it is time-based. This is a time-based quiz. From the moment we start the quiz, like every other exam, there's time when you finish the exam. No added time. And Of course, at the end, we'll be giving out some prizes to our winners today. Remember, we have 2 amazing prizes we want to give away today. We're giving away a laptop, and we're also giving away a Bluetooth speaker. But in addition to that, for some of the participants today on the floor, right here, and also the ones at home, we'll be giving away some airtime, some data. Zach is ready here to give away some amazing mugs from NSSF. And I was just here in the morning having my morning coffee, and I thought to myself, you know, why didn't I have this? And who do I need to talk to? But you can have one of these today. Clearly just, you know, ask a really creative question. And the panel will be, well, one of the award presenters. You know, like at the Grammys, when you say, I'm here to present the award for. Yeah, so we'll be doing the same thing here. Herbert is making his way to the stage. So we have amazing mugs, we have t-shirts, we have caps, we have airtime, we have data, and we have 2 big prizes that we're going to give away in just a bit. I hope everyone is seated because we're beginning the interactive quiz right now, okay? So everyone at home and here, I want you to pull out your phone right now. I'm pulling out mine as well. Because if I answer faster than you guys, then... no, it's not for me. It's not for me. But I want you to pull out your phones. We're going to participate really, really quickly in this interactive session. Now, how to join? We're going to drop the website on the screens in a bit. And I want you guys to go to your browser, whatever browser that you use. I don't want to mention any because, well, they were not sponsoring this one for this year. So whatever browser you're comfortable with, Android, iOS, any other OS that you're comfortable with, let us know. But the website for the interactive quiz is www.joinmyquiz.com. That is www.joinmyquiz.com. But the quiz has a double Z. So Q-U-I-Z-Z. All right? .com. You can open up on a phone or a laptop. And then when you get to the page, the main page, it's going to ask you to enter a code. Not Timothy code, but it's going to ask you to enter a code, right? The code today has changed. So if you were here on day 1, it's not the same code. It has changed. That's why we want you to come for day 3, because there'll be more prizes and the code will change on day 3. But the code for today is a 6-figure number, which is 1 3 3 3 1 8. Let me read it again. The code to access the quiz is 1 3 3 3 1 8. That's 1 3 3 1 8. Now the next step, you need to enter your full name and your year of study. Your full name and your year of study. Those of us at home, I hope you're with us, you're following. After entering the code, you enter your full name and your year of study. All right? If you're just opening the page, it should look something like this. And then you enter the code. I'm going to do it with you as well. I also want to test my knowledge. And we're joining the game. So once the quiz begins, you have 20 seconds per question. Once the quiz begins, 20 seconds per question. If you fail to answer in 20 seconds, either pass or you have failed. And the person with the most right answers at the end of the quiz walks away with a grand prize. Fair? Everything fair? All right, I hope we've already signed in. I hope you're in your pre-game. I see I am playing with over 108 other players. I see we've joined 112, 13. We're joining. I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? We're ready, yeah? All right. So, let the quiz begin. I don't know what happens if I win, but okay. Alicia, some background music as we answer these questions. This would be the very first time I listen to music during an exam. This is the interactive quiz, and we're giving away a laptop and a Bluetooth speaker. And you have to be number one at the end. Let's keep going, let's keep going, let's keep going. Also, if you finish first, don't say first. Best friend or your worst enemy? And I hope your service provider did not play you today. We'll be checking the rankings in a few. Don't copy. I've always wanted to say that. Don't copy. Checking the ranks in a bit. I think you already know which position failed. We will be getting to the winners in a bit. As we continue the NSSF Career Expo 2022, I know there's a lot of questions that were still on the floor for our physical audience today. And probably you would love to ask our speakers today. We're compiling the list of winners from the interactive quiz, and I don't know who it is. Maybe you're here, maybe you're online. But we'll be announcing the winners towards the end of the expo. That's a quick interactive quiz there. But we do have a couple of questions from the floor. I know he has a question here at the front. Let's start with the lady. Let's get a question from the ladies, right? Let's start. Please introduce yourself, where you're from, and which speaker you'd like to ask a question.
Is it good afternoon? Yeah, good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
everyone. My question goes to all of them, but I'm curious about what Vicent, what you studied, because, I'm Joanne Babidie, and I'm at Isbeth University doing networking and cybersecurity. That's why I felt attacked, actually, when he was talking about cybersecurity people. So I'm curious about what you studied, Vicent, for the software, what you majored in, and if you did any certifications after. I want to know about that. Then I ask the general question.
So,
I think she can ask at once.
do you want to ask ask all the questions at once, and then we...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my main question is, what drives you? Okay, there is being motivated and you know what you want to do, but what keeps you going? Like, because today I may come and I get so motivated, I'm so excited, I start up whatever I want to start up, and then within like a month, I'm already breaking down. You understand, I'm wanting to stop or I give up. So that's what challenges me most in moving forward. You understand? Keeping on to pursue your goal, and what drives you to keep on going, waking up every morning, doing whatever you want to do. That's my question for all of you.
All right. I think we'll start this time from Vincent all the way across the panel. What drives you to keep going?
Perhaps before that question, what I studied, I did Bachelor of Science. By our time, again, this was really, computer science was a very new area, and majored in computer science and mathematics. And then thereafter, I've had opportunities to study leadership, the CEO apprenticeship program, which Herbert also has attended. But largely after school, I really read a lot. On a weekly basis, I read a book. And for me, I think that the mentorship I've got, number one, is books. So I'm able to access books written by Harvard professors and all kinds of high-tech people, so that you are able to expand your perspective and go beyond technology.
All right.
Now, in terms of what inspires me, I think that it's largely the understanding of how power builds up. Power builds up in a process. So I have developed a philosophy and the understanding of how influence builds up. You start with purpose. So in my case, like I've shared with you, I have zeroed down to financial resilience for African low and middle income earners. That clarity of purpose, and if you discover it early enough, will be the guiding star to the field that you need to study. So from the purpose, then you go to actually passion. Now, I have heard people say you need to find your passion. My view is that you cannot find your passion. You can only create passion for your purpose. Because passion is the consistent pursuit of your worthy purpose. Whether it rains or it shines, that you are able to keep the bigger picture in view. That big picture in view is what motivates. So the why of your life is really something that you must keep in view. And having pursued your passion and your purpose, for a long term, you then reach a compounding period where you now talk about power. So power builds up from a consistent pursuit of your passion. There comes that time, and like in our case now, I can say that now we have some power. We are able to influence an industry because we have pursued this purpose for a long time. And in that pursuit, you are able to actually identify partners. You are able to identify resources. You are also able to understand better how you need to do things. So that power is what I call momentum. So sometimes you are not able to stop because of the momentum you have built for the industry. You think about quitting and you wonder, okay, what about these 300 institutions that rely on my infrastructure? You cannot wake up and quit. You understand? Then you have reached that compounding period of power, and that is how you keep moving. Yeah.
All right. Power, passion equals?
Purpose.
Sorry, purpose, passion equals power.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Brian, what's your take?
All right. Mine regarding how to keep motivated. One is that, like, purpose. What's the future like, And there's all these cliche things of aspire to do something that excites you. And that is true because then you'll be excited to wake up on a daily to pursue that. And just to add on, as you build the passion and execute, solve the challenges that you meet along the way, then you keep at it, And then you find that, of course, you're now living beyond yourself now. The responsibility, the power of these people that rely on the solution that you've created. So you have to wake up on a daily. And the beauty about all of this is it doesn't feel like work, because this is something you love to do. So you just have to be intentional. There's always an end goal to the work you do. So don't just start and then drop off. Persist along the way and you'll do it. So it's really about choosing to wake up because you're pursuing something that excites you, yeah?
Choosing to wake up and pursue something that excites you.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way for many people to stay driven. If it excites you enough, it will wake you up in the morning and say, yes, I want to do it. If it doesn't excite you, even you, it's like listening to a song you don't like. Chances are you'll either turn off the station or just not pay attention. But if it's your favorite song, I promise you'll be dancing on stage every single day. But Herbert, what's your take on drive? How does one stay focused, motivated, driven?
No, thank you. Thank you for that question. Very good question, and I'm very excited that the young people are asking those questions now. And I could start from multiple areas. I'll just try to be as brief as possible. The first thing that came to my mind was something I read in a book by Jack Collins a while ago when he talked about finding he called it your hedgehog. And what he described as your hedgehog is the intersection. So just imagine you've got 3 circles and you question yourself and you want to find the intersection of what is it that you love doing, something that you can do effortlessly. That was one. The second one is, what is it that you can do that can earn you a living, that you can make something out of because it will keep you going? The third was, what is it that you can do that you can be the best in the world at? Excuse me. So when you find that intersection, you'll usually come back to what he said, your purpose, which is also related to answering your why, because it's about answering the question why. So you keep asking yourself that question. So we need to get time to reflect and always ask that why. And the moment you have that answer, then, sorry about my voice. The moment you have that answer, then you have a reason to come up every day. So for instance, my very simple one is, I want to make everyone better today than they were yesterday, for as long as I interact with you. So that drives me. Everything I do today has got to be better. I've got to continuously improve. right? So on the other side, I am a professional coach, which I do to people as well, and that is among the things that we continue engaging with people. So it keeps me up every day. And probably if you want, when you're being purposeful, I have taken note of 5 things that I share with people to be purposeful on. The first one is to have that clarity about purpose. And that's what I was describing. You ask yourself those questions, ask that why. So you be very, very clear about what your purpose is. The other one is to be clear about what is my role in this purpose? What is my responsibility? What do I need to do to get to that purpose? The third one is to be very clear, who am I doing this for? Who am I serving, right? The next one is make sure it is driven by values. You need to have a value system because the value system speaks to who you are, it speaks to what you like, it speaks to what you can live by. So make sure you live by those values. And the final one, which is very important, always be authentic. Because when you're authentic, you don't need to pretend. You be yourself. So those things at the top of my mind, very briefly, are the things that keep me going and would encourage everyone to think about to keep them going every day. Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, yes, round of applause, round of applause. Last but not least, Viola, how do you address drive? Especially, you have young people in your line of business that are interested in hardware, and you said you're tech-driven and tech-enabled. How do you assess drive, first as a CEO, then also as part of the team? How do you assess maintaining your drive and focus?
First and foremost, thank you, John, for that question. I want to break down what you asked and merge it with what you asked as well. So for me, drive is what are you driving towards? What is it that you want to arrive at? Because you have to have a destination before you start driving. So if we get to understand that, when I was your age, okay, in your year, I don't think I knew exactly what I wanted. And if you listen to so many people that have had businesses or career or name it, don't feel like you're not worthy right now because you don't know exactly what that destination is. I think what you should focus on is how did so and so get there? How do I get there? When you then understand where you want to get to, you then define how you're going to get there. So they've all talked about the different things. And what I'm going to say is, as a CEO, I need to know what I intend to get from each person on my team. So for me, I have a goal in mind. I have someone who has a certain skill set or who can actually achieve something or who can learn something. So because I know what I want from them, I then either teach them to get to what I want or guide them with a skill set they already have to achieve what I want. And as a team, I encourage people to read as much because I also don't have all the answers. So I encourage them to read as much in the area. As I mentioned, I'm a professional marketer, so I know nothing about code. I am here in your space like I own it. But for me, it's something that challenges me every day. When I'm going to get developers on board, I have to know what they are telling me, because if I don't know, either they will cost me highly or they'll just be bragging about with words that I don't know. So encouraging my team to read as much, to be the best people they can be in the area that they are in. And that way they get challenged, because you might start out thinking, oh, I want to be a developer. As you get more knowledge on what actually development is, you get to learn so much that you can actually be. And you find that small thing that you'll be, as you said, you find that you have authority in that unique bit that, being a developer is so big, but there can be that specialty that you actually be an authority in. So for me, briefly, you have to, first of all, get to know where you intend to go. So then you start understanding how you're going to get there. And also creating accountable partners or accountability partners. If you say to someone that I want to buy a blue dress, let me bring it, so relatable. It means that this person is going to ask you, oh, by the way, did you buy the blue dress? So if you want to be something, or if you want to achieve something, and you tell someone about it, they're going to ask you 10 days or a month later if you actually did it. So that is also very helpful. You can start with that.
All right, thank you so much, Viola. I think very, very insightful opinions here on how you can address your drive. I think what we're going to do now, Zach, before we get any more questions, I just wanted to, of course, reward the first two questions. So our gentleman here in an orange shirt and who's trying to hack the world, we're going to give you one of our packages here, one of our T-shirts, and of course a mug from NSSF, of course, for the NSSF Career Expo. Thank you so much for participating. And our lady there as well, you get a hamper as well. We get you a T-shirt and a mug from NSSF just to say thank you for participating as well. We have a few more gifts that we want to give away. Of course, we still have data and airtime, but we want to keep the conversation going. Just a reminder, because this is the NSSF Career Expo, we're encouraging you to register. And you can do that using the website www.nssfgo.app. All right? The website is www.nssfgo.app. And the first few people to register will walk away with a prize. So open up your phones. It's about that time. Let's take two more questions on the floor. We had a question from this man here in the center. And then we had a question with the lady in the back. Him in the center, and then the lady in the back. Then we also have some online responses that I'd love to just read very, very briefly. A gentleman called Justin Kinyera, who does data science, says, today's panelists were very inspirational and motivational. He thanks you so much. I think we can agree. And he had a question for Brian and Madame Viola. Seeing that you did not have a direct background in the tech world, what challenges did you face, especially while preaching your ideas to developers, by any chance, if you used them? We'll get to that question in a bit. Let's take two. One from here. One from here. All right, one from here. We have one in the back as well. One from the front, one from there, one from the back, and then we get to the online responses. There's more questions that we're going to take before we announce our winners for the quiz. But sir, just introduce your name and what do you do and what your question is for which panelist.
Thank you very much, Timothy, and to the panelists. My name is Mark Tusile. I am CEO and founder of Mark, the very first Afrocentric streaming and production platform in Africa.
Nicely done.
So the first question goes to Brian and all of you. You talked about a team, the productivity of a team, but you did not mention the qualities that you look for in the team that you require. And so as Viola, because you mentioned that you have 35 interns, you did not specifically ask what they studied at university, but then there are specific qualities that you are looking for in the team that you of interns that you have on your team right now. Then also, as the discussion was going on, you were all referring to going back to the internet at every single one point. With the internet and technology, I am a software developer. I study computer science. There is a bit of creativity. There's a bit of creativity that at one point you have to know how creative, what you're doing is, how creative is it, how is it going to stand out? Because I would testify, back in the day I had a meeting with Brian, I don't think you remember, like way back. And that's the time he had just started with Tubayo. And over the years, I've seen him progress, and he has now come up with Tubayo homes, the experiences, and everything. But with all that, there was a bit of creativity. When Herbert was talking, you talked about the maintenance, and when the message is always sent, there is a bit of creativity that that you always come up with. And as a leader, your team always relies on you. But there's one thing about creativity, we call it creativity block. There is that point where you are, like, you're stuck, you do not know the way forward. You're actually stuck in one position. Yes, you have the idea, you have the knowledge about everything, you're going to rely on the internet, but you do not know how to take it forward. So I just wanted to know how each and every one of you tackles that problem.
All right. Mark, you said? All right. So Mark is asking, of course, Linda. I think Viola's answer is burning. So we're going to start with the lady and then go to Brian. You asked two questions. You asked about the quality of the people that you hire. You know, something that we've emphasized is the importance of having a team in pursuing your dream and your goal as an entrepreneur. But you also mentioned what you want to find out from them. How do they assess the quality of the team that they're hiring? Viola has a couple of interns, and something she mentioned is that she didn't ask them what they studied. She said, where do you want to work in the company? Where do you fit in with the company ecosystem? So she's going to share a bit more about that. Brian is also going to share on how he has built his team, what qualities he looks for in his team that has helped him build such a, sustainable company that is Tubayo. But before we get their responses, I just want to announce the winners from yesterday. I know we have some viewers online that are very, very eager to find out who were the winners for yesterday's interactive quiz. And like we said, each and every day we're giving away a laptop, we're giving away a Bluetooth speaker, loads of data and airtime, and we have some goodies here from NSSF and all our partners. If you're really, really nice to Herbert, he'll give you a very nice Absa hamper that I'm looking at right now. So yeah, talk to him nicely. But I want to announce yesterday's winners. Now, the winner of the JBL Bluetooth speaker for day one, not today, day one of the NSSF Career Expo 2022 is none other than Buyinga Isaac Nambafu. Round of applause. Buyinga Isaac Nambafu, you are the winner of the JBL Bluetooth speaker. And then we get on to the big one. The one everyone is wondering about, the laptop for day one. Okay. The winner of the laptop for day one of the NSSF Career Expo is none other than Ninsima Helena. Congratulations. Congratulations, Ninsima Helena. I know she was tuned in online and she sent in a lot of questions and answered very quickly. And she is the winner of the laptop for day one. The winner of the JBL speaker, Bluetooth speaker for day one is Buyinga Isaac Nambafu. All right? So, that's a drum roll. Thank you so much, DJ Alicia. Always on point. Always on point. Always in class. I like that. Thank you so much. Those are winners for the two big prizes. But remember, we're also going to reward the next 10 in line. So we'll select the next 10 and reward them with some freebies and NSSF goodies. All right? So, back to the conversation. Brian and Viola, we're talking about hiring and quality of a team. And also how to use your technology, right? Creativity. How do you address creativity block? All right, so ladies first, take it away.
Thank you. So the reason I actually wanted to respond to you is, so there is like a whole creativity curve. I don't know if it's there, but allow me use me as me what I've experienced. And you start. Oh, sorry. So I was saying that there is like a whole creativity curve. You start out an idea and you're, all up there, you're thinking, I can do this, I can do the other. Actually, it can also do this and the other. And then when you start, it's a whole different experience because there is only so much that you can execute of the things that you dreamt about. So you quickly get into what you can do and then sort of shelf what you thought you'd also achieve. But due to so much, maybe you don't have the resources, maybe you don't actually know how to get to what you wanted to do. You just, let them be for a bit. Somehow you then find a way of executing what you had shelved. So you also add it to maybe this business that you've started, or you start another business. But along the way, you almost, I don't want to say you can't think anymore, but you get to hit a certain level of creativity. So you're not as creative as you used to be. Because you maybe wake up, you have like so many different ideas, but then you wake up and sometimes you don't even have an idea, even for a week, even for a month. And you just go about the business as, as anyone else could, but yet you're the business owner or the leader. And then you get to a point where some people are coming to you with ideas about your business. Well, sometimes I don't know what happens to us. But, you're so in your own head, which has now hit a certain mark that you're not thinking. So even when people bring you ideas, you almost can't see them. And that's very deadly. But somehow you can't avoid it. Because I remember when I was still an active marketer, I would go to different brands and tell them, oh, by the way, we can partner on this and this. I sell to them ideas and they wouldn't, buy the ideas. Then I get my own business. People are coming to me. And I also can't seem to see what they are saying. And it's after a while that you see what someone was, selling to you. So I cannot say that this is exactly how I go about it, but just like they say, time is the best healer, teacher, when you're like trying to heal. I feel like experience, hands-on experience in running a business is like the best way you can deal with anything you're thinking about in running a business and owning a business. But to be very specific about creativity, personally, what I did, when I realized that's what I was going through, I just got a book. Nobody should, get to that book. So I just keep writing, what I'm thinking about, what I intend to do about something. And then after a while, maybe when I've hit that point where I can't think anymore, I go back and read some of these ideas I put down. And I find that actually they are very doable at that point when I'm not, with running ideas. And I find that it's so easy, not like so easy, but it's something I can actually put my mind to and achieve. And personally, that's how I have been able to achieve some things and keep relevant in the industry, because we all know running a tech-enabled and driven business, you've never arrived. You think you've arrived, you think you're doing it all, and someone wakes up and you are very irrelevant. So for Wena to have been relevant since 2018 and growing very relevant in the 3 markets we've been, I think for me I can't say we are doing good, but we are almost there. And then about the team, personally I went to Makerere University Business School and did Bachelor of International Business.
Any moves representatives in the house?
They should be there, yes.
This is where you make noise for yourselves. Come on.
And then became a professional. Okay, I was already interested in marketing, but then went and studied Chartered Institute of Marketing. It's a UK program, but there is a study center in Uganda. At that time, it was at UMI. So that's what makes me a professional marketer. But if I was to be asked, what is your experience in tech? If, for example, when I was owned by someone else and they wanted my relevance and experience from what I went to school and studied, I would never be employed. And that's why I do not want someone else to say, oh, because you studied English, then you should come and, and work as an English so and so. But for me, my approach is, can you actually speak English? I'm just using English to mean it's maybe a program. So if you can, or if you have the willingness to learn, then I find someone who has learned, and that's how we, hit it off. So it's not about, or are you good enough? No, do you have the attitude to be good enough? And also because when I was starting out, I didn't have the resources, the money that is, to hire the best people that I wanted. And because of that, I had to find a way of achieving what I wanted with the available resources that I had at the time and the people that would, fit in my budget. So for me, it's been, as I said, experience because of running a business on a lean budget. But I am very glad that we are so far in 3 countries, Uganda. We went to Nairobi, Kenya, before the second lockdown, and we just went to Zambia. We are starting out in Zambia. So for me, it's encouraging. It's not like we've arrived, but again, CEO Mark, please, if you have an opportunity for people, don't ask them what they know about streaming and anything. Just give them the opportunity and look out for the attitude.
All right. Very, very insightful there. Thank you so much, Viola. Brian, you want to share your thoughts as well?
I hope mine is clear. But quickly, Mark, I still remember you. Since day one, you've been part of the Tubayo family, so I still remember you. But great questions regarding team, and that's something I'm really passionate about. So regarding what qualities you look out for, I think for the start, because you don't have much leverage, just take on anyone who can join you, on the space you want to hire from. Because I'm thinking you want to hire someone like Herbert, you could never afford him, You can't pay as much as you can't pay as much as ABSA pays. So, and how are you going to do this? Look around your fellows, fellow young people. Let's trust each other that we can do these things. The person that built the Tubayo platform right now that is ahead of Airbnb in Uganda is a diploma guy. When I saved money with Taxify, my obvious thing was hire tech people. So just call anyone who has a tech degree. Of course, I'm like, let me look through only Makere because it's a standard, But those guys did nothing, 6 months. I didn't even know how to manage them until I was now left to the point of who really wants to just be part of me, you get? And then we built slowly. And that guy right now, he will beat everyone. He's really good. So that's what the young people, if you work with fellow young people, you'll be amazed at how much work they're doing. The other example is our marketing guy. Tubayo is all over. Do you know how much you spend on the budget? 0. The guy will show up on NBS, will show up on CNN. 0 budget. Young people can do these things as well. Trust your fellow young people. Boris, the head of operations, I think he's the best operations guy in the country. Young person. So quality, build the quality among your fellow young people.
I thought you were going to mention your marketing budget as like...
But yeah.
My lord.
So how you then approach the quality of talent is start with the young people, build that team, work with them, build value, leverage off that value, because now you'll have the money. Now approach Herbert to give counsel, to give, you approach the big people because you have a base, you have the leverage. And yeah, so, but as a leader, I'll tell you there's 2 main responsibilities. Just keep sharing your vision, get these people on. That's one, so you have to build a team. But second, you have to you have to train them, I've taken that responsibility up, I keep learning, and then I share with them the different perspectives that I get from the books, the friends I share with. So you have that responsibility to do as a leader. Take them on, train them, and then they'll get better. Then the other thing regarding creativity and standing out, lately I believe it is possible to create a scenario where you're not competing with anyone. And that's really around strategy, I could do travel with him, but I could choose on how am I going to position myself to deliver value in travel. You don't have to compete with anyone if you properly define your strategy. Yeah? So like today, there's so many travel companies. They will choose to design the whole package. But we're going to say, okay, for us, we will not design the package. We will not take that call to do back and forth quotations with you. We will simply avail a product, an online platform like an app, where you can go and plan your own trip. So we've positioned ourselves like that. And then you will find we are the only guys in the space. So regarding creativity and standing out, invest in strategy, read still, pray about it, get mentors, and develop a proper strategy on how you're going to position your company to be different from the other companies. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Brian. Something that I picked from the MD of ABSA yesterday, he spoke about the spider web theory, where you tap into your immediate circle. Like the same way a spider leaves a web, the flies that come attracted to you and get caught in your web, those are the people that you approach and build a team with. So building with the same theory that Brian is saying, look around you. Your CEO or your operations manager might be the guy next to you, or your head of security might be the guy behind you, just figuratively speaking. But look around you for the team that is interested in what you're interested in and is able to support you, because it might not be just a case of finding who you think is the best in the field. Most cases, in line with what Vincent was also saying, in line with your passion. Your purpose might be similar, but even if they're the best in the field, they might not be in line with your passion. When you find that, what happens at the end of the equation? You have power. That's what you have. You have a successful team. So thank you so much to the team. I think we're going to reward him as well. We have a T-shirt here and an amazing hamper from MTN. They're going to bless him as well. No, don't show. Just give the man his hamper. You might not make it out. But give the man a hamper, yes. So we have 2 more questions that I want to get to. Actually, 3 more questions I want to get to really, really quickly before we give out the grand prize. There was a lady in the back who was waiting, and then we have this gentleman here that also wanted to ask a question. We're going to pick at least 1 more at the end, and then we'll have an intimate Q&A session. Let's start with the lady in the back. Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Siwongile Kalifungwa.
Okay.
And I studied a double major in economics and international studies at University of Monash in South. Reasons. Me specifically, I was genuinely passionate about accounting growing up, and I liked my numbers and I was good at them. However, I got to university and I found out accounting isn't so pretty as you go through. It gets hard and it's just so complicated, and I feel like I wanted to do it so much to impress my dad because he's an accountant. So eventually I broke his heart and he supported me to get into economics, and I eventually studied economics. And then after graduating, I got my grades, good grades, of course. And after graduating with my double major degree, I realized that I actually don't like economics. Like, given an opportunity to get into a job that's directly related to it, I wouldn't pick that over doing something that I'm genuinely passionate about. So after graduating from university, I reached a point where I just didn't know what was next. Like, it was frustrating. Like, you just don't know, and you're like, why did I study this? But you're already at the end, you've already gotten your degree and all of that. So my question is, what is your advice to someone facing post-university depression? And also, I mean, I got a feel of the corporate world for a few months doing an internship, and that too wasn't something that I enjoyed. I mean, it wasn't as fun as everyone said it was going to be. And there's other stuff I am passionate about. I own my own beauty brand, and I'm a fitness enthusiast, and I have my own business. However, I've been advised by so many people of your caliber that the discipline attained from the corporate world is what's going to help me run my brand and what's going to help me grow my brand as an individual. There's that. And then secondly, there's that question of, should I further my studies and get a master's degree? And even when I get a master's degree, I need to do something that's more timely, something that I have time to research about, something that I'm like, 5 years from now, this is going to be relevant with the times. I don't want to feel the way I felt after my undergraduate degree, like I just studied. So there's that, or there's get the corporate job because I need those 5 years of discipline, so to say, so that I can start running my brand. So there's 3 options for an individual who finished university, graduated, done internship, and now is looking to get into the corporate world, which for a young black African woman is not exactly easy. So what is your advice for students that get into university? I mean, for some people, you get your A's from high school and everyone's like, go be a doctor, just because you have A's, but you're not even sure if that's what you want from your core. So what is your advice for someone facing post-university depression and confusion rather? And would you advise that someone who's in a similar situation or someone who's in a similar situation trying to make a decision between going into corporate because you need to attain that discipline apparently, or furthering your studies, or chasing something you're passionate about and just going with the flow? What is your advice for someone in my position?
All right, thank you so much. It's a very, very nice question. I think to answer this one, I'll personally give my own response, and then I'll request Vincent and Herbert to give their own responses, just to, even out some of the questions that are coming from the panel in regards to what you're saying. How to deal with post-university depression, and how to apply the knowledge from the corporate world in building a business that you are passionate about. I'll give you my example. Some people don't know this about me because they'll look at me and say, oh, I know this guy's an entertainer, but I actually studied law for 4 years. I hold a Bachelor of Law degree, LLB, 4 years from Uganda Christian University, right? So you might be thinking, how does a lawyer become a rapper, then become an entertainer, then become a radio host, then become the moderator of the NSSF Career Expo? It doesn't, on paper, it would not add up. You'd say, how you're in 3 different things, 3 different fields, right? But the thing that has guided me through, and what actually helped me get through some of that post-university depression, because I experienced it as well, is do what you love what you do. It sounds corny, but this is how. When you do what you love, you're less likely to feel the bad days when they come. When you don't do what you love, when you get a bad day, you feel it. You feel that depression, you feel that depression and anxiety. That pressure seems to weigh heavier when it is something that you're either not conversant about, which would now require you to get more knowledge, or something you're not passionate about that will force you to feel like you start to question your own validation. You start to validate yourself and say, am I really worthy of this thing? And the truth of the matter is, it's just because you don't like it. Not that you're not worthy, you just don't like it. So I was also an intern. I've done internship in a couple of firms, and that wasn't my thing. Straight out of uni, I decided, let me take this route, because it's something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about the stage, about music, about entertainment, about conversations. And then getting through those, getting to what I actually love is now actually putting me in these different conversations where you can now be a media personality because he likes maybe music, or you can now be a moderator because you know how to talk to people in public spaces. So it's, you said you were passionate about beauty and what was the second thing? Fashion. Beauty and fashion. Now those 2 things, and fitness, yes, beauty and fitness. Those 2 things are marketable ventures, even in Uganda. And instead of focusing on the economics that you weren't maybe passionate about, I would ask you to address those things that you are and find creative ways of getting into it. Because even in those challenges that you find on the way, because you love it so much, you'll say, you know what, I'm gonna stick in there, hang in there. It's that moment where you feel like you're going to hit a wall, but because you love it so much, you'll say, no, I love it too much to let it go just like that. And it gives you the motivation for day 1, for day 2, for month 1, for month 2, year 1, year 2, until you see your progress. So love what you do what you love, but at the end of the day, follow your path. The path that, and we say this a lot, our parents said, paths for us that they feel we should pursue. You know, they always want an accountant in the family, they want a lawyer, they want a doctor in the family. But today we're talking about tech. What if you love coding? What if you love setting up websites? What if you are very good with your social media? Those are all ventures that can be paid for in today's market. Even more so post-pandemic, those are ventures that actually make money. There are influencers who are actually making money off of this event. Some of them might not even be physically here, but they're actually making money from it. So those are all ventures that you can consider. I say, follow your heart. You'll make, the money should not even be the issue. Follow your heart. Let your passion guide you. You'll have a successful business at the end of it for two reasons. Not for the money that you make, but for the fact that your life's purpose was fulfilled. All right? Let me request Herbert to just chime in as well, and Vincent as well on the topic.
Can you hear? Okay, thank you very much. Very good question. I related to what I said, and I'm glad you brought it up because it is a reality for those who don't know, and it really touches on us. But if I just zeroed down to very few, number one, when you're stuck, ask for help. So professional coaching, mentoring, out there, you don't have to underestimate anyone, but just that being curious to try to find out. And very much related to what he said is enjoying what you do or finding what you'd like to do is very, very key. I would say make time and reflect. There's something that we don't do very often. Many times we don't take time aside to just ask ourselves those questions, those difficult questions. Why am I doing what I am doing? What is it that I want to do? Where do I want to go? That's a very difficult question. Let's be patient with ourselves, because what I have observed is that the times are moving so fast today, and as young people, we also want things yesterday. We want them now, right? The reality is you'll not get everything now. You'll not get everything yesterday. So you've got to be patient with yourself and continue evaluating. The other that I really value is continue learning, because every day, treat it that when you learn something new today, it will add value to where you're going. It will help you find that path. If you've got the opportunity, read. For instance, read. I mean, there's something I referred to earlier, a book that I read and really inspired me in finding myself by Jack Collins, Good to Great. It's the one that talks about finding your hedgehog. It's a very good book, so things like that would be very good. There's another book by Marshall Goldsmith that tells you what got you here will not get you there. Just reminds us that times are changing and this is normal. So continue reading, make time for you, but remember, in your specific situation, even where your passion is, or what you enjoy doing that you should continue doing, and I like the way you put it, you can take advantage of what you have studied to use it. For instance, accounting, economics, it will always come in handy with whatever you've got to do. So just joining the dots around that is something that would help. I'll keep it there. You captured most of the things, and I'll pass it on to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's really a pretty question. Because in our journey, there comes that point when we need clarity on the direction that we are taking. And believe me, everyone that we have seen and admired has had those moments. If you look at the biographies of people like Elon Musk, I believe you may have some experiences. When you look at what he went through as he started his ambition to build Tesla, that journey of building an electric car, no one believed him. He went to every investor and no one believed him, because until that moment, people who are building electric cars, you know, these were just hypothetical projects to waste people's money. And he was frustrated. So he gets his money from PayPal, $180 million, and of course I'm just picking just this one story, but there are several stories in his path. He thought that the next venture would only take 100 million. He burns all his 100 million, and the project still needs more. And then he brings in his last balance. You can imagine when you are spending your last money, and around you, your parents think that you are telling lies, your friends think that you are not serious, your closest people who should believe in your vision think that you're just wasting yourself away. No one is believing you. He was lonely. The path to success is a lonely path. If you're not willing to be lonely along the path and you emotionally prepare for success, I warn you that there is lonely moment in the path to success. But coming to that moment when someone feels depressed, I think that that moment has the positive and the negative.
True.
Because at that moment, I would like to look at the positive. It is a positive moment because you have very little to lose. You have very little to lose, and you will perhaps not fear to start. Because very often the reason why people stay the same 1 year after the other is because they feel they have so much to lose, and they stay the same. But at the moment of depression, for me, I come to understand that this person now has had enough of it. She's saying enough is enough. What she's having and holding on to is no longer motivating enough, and she's ready for a new beginning. Please harness that. And one of the ways that you can actually go through that period is to look out for biographies of successful people. Look at their journey, and you'll be amazed that your situation is not unique to you.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Herbert, you wanted to say something?
Just going to add one more thing. There's a book I used. It's called The Squiggly Career. I don't know if you can say it. Now, this book I found very interesting because it helps you discover a couple of things. I'll spend 30 seconds and tell you the chapters.
Who's the author?
Oh, sorry. The Squiggly Career. It's by Helen Tupper and Sarah Ellis.
Okay.
Right? You will find it very insightful because it helps you, number one, discover your strengths, discover your super strengths. It has some active questionnaires you can use with your teams. Discover your values, build your confidence, look at your networks, and it helps you start thinking about future options. I found it as a very interesting book, and I've used it with a few people, so I would highly recommend it.
All right. Thank you so much to Vincent and Herbert. A round of applause for our response. And that question was very, very deep. So I think, Herbert, you get the honor of rewarding our question that came in from the lady. I would like to invite you on the stage to personally receive an amazing hamper from ABSA. That was a very, very deep question that I know a lot of us can relate to. Post-unity depression and... All right, so we're going to give you this hamper just from ABSA. And yeah, it's here. It's fine. It's fine. It's all right. There you go. Congratulations. All right. Thank you so much to the panelists. We want to close because of time. I know. We have so many questions. We're burning. But very quickly, very quick fire from the panelists on the stage with me. In 30 seconds, just tell me your final thoughts on your topic for the day and what you want, a key takeaway that you want to share with our audience, both physically and online. Let's start with Viola here. 30 seconds, what's your final take? All right. Okay.
In 30 seconds, why a career in tech? I will say to you, if you've not understood why all this is happening, what I said and its relevance, I think for me what you should take out is you can be anything with the power of technology, apart from being a doctor. Because you're able to learn, relearn, and enhance whatever it is that you will have learned. If you start a business, you'll be able to understand how to go about your business using the lots of examples that are on the internet, the brief information that you find on the internet that you would not otherwise find and relate with if we were to go to a library and read. Yes, you can still go offline and read, but the two spaces are a bit different, and technology gives it faster and easier for you to relate with.
All right, thank you so much. That is Viola Ampire, the CEO of Wena Hardware. We move on to Mr. Herbert Olowo, the head of operations and IT at Absa Bank. What are your final takes on today's topic, your topic in particular, harnessing opportunities in technology for youth?
So my takeaway very simply is there is an opportunity for the youth, and now more than ever, I mean, when I look at it, most of us were born between 2000 and today. There have been lots of changes. There are still lots of changes. Everything we do primarily depends on technology, and technology can actually enable and make things change. We have lived in an age where we have seen the likes of Uber, the likes of Rocket Health very close to us. That was creativity. So I would encourage all of us, whereas the technology is there, do not forget that we as the people, knowing ourselves, understanding our purpose, and being very clear about that will be very key to determine where we go. We've gotten very good examples here, and there's many, so many of those that we can find. It's very key that we take advantage of that now more than ever. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Herbert. We move on to Mr. Brian Namanya, founder of Tuvayo. What is your final take on today's conversation?
All right, to the young people out there, I'll mention this. Today, Americans are proud of Apple, Amazon. The Asians are proud of Alibaba because of the impact and opportunities they've created. Very soon, I know Africans will be proud of Tuvayo because the future is exciting. In fact, by 2030, we are on a mission to go to Mars because this can't only be done by SpaceX. So I invite you all, join the Tuvayo family, join us on this journey. We are so welcome to work with each and every one of you. Download our app, share with your friends, and let's build this for Africa. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And at the end, Mr. Vincent Tumejuche, the CEO of Future Link Technologies. Your final take on today's conversation.
Yeah, I think that it's a moment, and this goes for both young and old, that continuously we refine our purpose and stick with it. Stick with it. And that is what is going to generate the passion. And everyone is going to begin to notice. The people who doubted you will begin to notice. Your parents will begin to notice. Investment community will begin to notice as you change the landscape. Until you transition into that period where power begins to compound for you as you refine the industry. At that point, you are able to look back and see how the different dots were able to connect. So stay motivated, stay connected with people who are changing lives, and remember, technology is about changing the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for our panelists today. Loud, 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 loud. Thank you so much. It's been a very interesting and engaging day 2 of the NSSF Career Expo. I just want to appreciate each and every one of you that took the time out to physically come here to Motive. It's day 2, and we have one more day of engagement and conversation happening here at Motive. So if you've been watching online and you've been trying to sum up the energy and the courage to come tomorrow, I'd love to invite you personally to come for the NSSF Career Expo. Remember, we are sponsored first and foremost by NSSF, A Better Life, also sponsored by Absa Bank. We also have Motive, Make the Future, and last but not least, the Innovation Village. Those are our 4 top sponsors today. A round of applause for making this happen, right? And for giving us this amazing space, obviously Motive. Thank you to Fenon, the team in the back, always making sure production is on point. Thank you so much. It's time to announce the winner. DJ Alicia, do we have a drum roll? Can we put something dramatic? Maybe even cut the lights. I don't know how dark we can get, but it's time to announce today's winners, all right? So we put up our interactive quiz that we've been running for 2 days straight. We had one yesterday, we had one today, and we have 2 winners. Alicia, do we have a... Oh, we're getting the drum roll. Just, yeah. It's an interesting drum roll. The winner of the JBL Bluetooth speaker for day 2 of the NSSF Career Expo is none other than Nakakawa Flavia Karen. Congratulations to Nakakawa Flavia Karen. I think she's online. She was one of the very first to win, to answer the questions. We know we got a lot of people that got all the questions correctly, but the criteria we're using is speed. That's why I said your internet will be your best friend or your worst friend. And tomorrow, if you come back and you still want to participate in the quiz, make sure top-notch internet on your phone or laptop. So congratulations to Nakakawa Flavia Helen. Please get in touch with NSSF on Twitter. That's NSSF Uganda on Twitter. Get in touch via the DM and you get details on how to pick up your speaker. That leaves us with the grand prize today. A brand new laptop for you to sign in and log in and tap into your new skills. Maybe connect with a potential new customer. Basically to use tech to your advantage. We have a winner of a laptop today courtesy of NSSF for the NSSF Expo. And the winner is for day... I've always wanted to say it's like the Grammys. And the winner is for day 2 of the NSSF Career Expo. Winner of the laptop is Samuel Sajabi. Congratulations, Samuel. I think someone was here yesterday. Congratulations to Samuel. Samuel was here yesterday, I think, but he's also tuned in online, and he has won a laptop courtesy of NSSF for the NSSF Career Expo. We still have more goodies, more giveaways. I'm going to allow the panelists here to just gift the crowd as you see fit. We have some hampers here. We have some airtime and data that we don't want you guys to leave without. So for those that came physically to attend, we'd love to thank you and we'd love to reward you with something here. But also, for those of you at home who want to take part in the NSSF Career Expo, type in, sign in, register, and you can be a part of it. Tomorrow we'll be here, 9 a.m. all the way till midday. We'll be here for the grand finale, day 3 of the NSSF Career Expo. It's time for me to say peace and love. My name is Timothy Code. I've been your moderator today. See you all tomorrow. The expo continues. Head over upstairs, dive into virtual reality, get to know the ABSA team in the bank. We also have MTN, and we also have a display from Motive, Make the Future, or Mwaleso. We have an amazing display present right here. So before you leave, take a look. But right now, it's us here saying goodbye, good night, good afternoon, or good night for you, which part of the world you're tuning in from. And we'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp for day 3 of the NSSF Career Expo. Thank you so much. Round of applause. DJ Alicia, it's time.